So I want to welcome you to the MD Logic's CompuClaim speaker series on youth mental health. This is the third session that we are conducting, and we are going to focus on training to teach coping strategies. And this is something that Kansas, which is an MD Logic's client, is doing. And we are pleased to have Stacy Davis, who is the Director of Mental Health Promotion for Mental Health America of the Heartland. And we also have Brittany Young, who is a facilitator for the Mental Health Association of South Central Kansas. So ladies, thank you both for presenting today. We're going to do a similar format where they have 20 minutes to talk to you about the trainings that they have underway. And then we'll open it up for 10 minutes worth of discussion and Q&A. So I'm going to turn it over to Stacy and Brittany. Thanks.
Stacy, I think you're muted.
So welcome everyone to Trainings to Teach Coping Strategies. As Marjorie said, my name is Stacy Davis, and I'm the Director of Mental Health Promotion for Mental Health America of the Heartland. And with me today is Brittany Young, a program facilitator from Mental Health Association of South Central Kansas. We are excited that you have joined our presentation, where we're going to share with you some coping strategies that we offer to the community in our collaborative SAMHSA-funded grant program called Strong Communities for Trying Times. We hope you will leave today's training with some strategies that will help you support the youth you work with. Just to give you a little bit of background about our organizations, our organizations are two of the 330 affiliates across the country of our parent organization, Mental Health America. Our mission is to promote the mental health of the community and improve the quality of life for persons with mental illness through advocacy, education, and support. Our programs include mental health promotion, advocacy and recovery services, and Heartland housing. In our mental health promotion program, we provide education to the community, professionals, families, and individuals with mental illness on a variety of mental health topics. These include workshops and seminars that are in-person and virtual. We have trained mental health professionals, police officers, nursing facilities staff, teachers, students, parents, and all sorts of community members. We have a listserv where we offer mental health presentations to the community, and we also offer continuing education. If you're interested in being on that listserv to learn more about our webinars and participate in our webinars, feel free to contact my email address, sdavis@mhah.org. We also do information and referral, where we provide community resources to those people seeking mental health treatment. In our advocacy and recovery department, we have peer support services, and we also have a compassionate ear line, which is the oldest running listening service in the country. And this is where people can call if they're struggling and get some support and resources. That compassionate ear warm line is answered 7 days a week from 3 to 10, including holidays. In our Heartland Housing Initiative, we provide permanent supportive housing for individuals that have been homeless their entire lives.
So to go into the mission of the Mental Health Association of South Central Kansas, we really try to empower and assist the youth and families and adults within our community. And we really try to help them achieve the optimal mental health and wellness through mainly education, advocacy, and service. The Mental Health Association of South Central Kansas has over 30 programs that are geared towards prevention, mentoring, intervention, and treatment. Services cover the full spectrum of ages, genders, degrees of illness, and diagnoses that exist within our community. And our services are provided at multiple locations across Kansas. Some of the services offered include case management, attendant care, psychosocial rehabilitation, and peer support. The programs that promote social emotional learning and address key factors that impact social determinants of health. Mentoring and volunteer services for both youth and seniors, family rehabilitation and stabilization services, housing options for individuals, shared living and seniors, the unhoused, and veterans. Counseling and substance abuse treatment services are also available to children, adults, couples, and families. The medication management is available for all MHA clients, staff, and their family members. And we also offer services to improve the overall health and well-being for those coping with chronic illnesses and those seeking help with tobacco cessation. The Strong Communities for Trying Times is a collaborative grant. It's funded by the SAMHSA. Our grant partners include Kansas Department of Aging and Kansas Disability Services, the Mental Health Association of South Central Kansas, the Mental Health America of the Heartland, Drexel University, MD Logic's BH Works, and the Youth Leaders in Kansas. The Strong Communities for Trying Times has served at this point over 5,000 individuals since the grant began offering presentations back in February. We have partnered with 50 schools and/or organizations, and we have covered over 37 counties.
This is an actual map that we serve in Kansas for this grant. As you can see, yellow is Mental Health America of the Heartlands, and blue is Mental Health Association of South Central Kansas. We have served the school districts as well as the communities, including foster care organizations, boys and girls clubs, youth organizations, Girl Scouts, foster care, social service organizations, YMCAs, as well as libraries throughout the state of Kansas. This is a list of presentations that we offer these communities, and it includes for school personnel, for parents and caregivers, and for students K through 12. For the school personnel, we offer QPR and More Than SAD, which are both evidence-based programs. QPR has to deal with suicide prevention in schools, as well as More Than SAD does a little bit about suicide prevention and also recognizing anxiety in teens. We also have developed a presentation on disorders, not bad behaviors for school staff, and that identifies common mental health disorders in children in elementary age. For parents and caregivers, we've adopted that curriculum, Disorders, Not Bad Behaviors, for parents, as well as offering a session on parents, helping parents help youth for those parents that are dealing with teens issues. And we also offer a family readiness program. This SAMHSA grant was geared specifically to improve the mental health of children and adolescents and increase their resilience as it relates to disaster relief. The disasters, specifically tornadoes and floods in 2018 and 19 in the state of Kansas. But because of COVID, this was really a timely effort to offer these presentations. So we focus on any kind of disaster. We also offer for the students K through 5th grade interactive classroom sessions on how to handle difficult feelings and manage emotions. And then for the 6th through 12th grade, we have a session on positive minds where we talk about how to increase mental wellness and have positive emotions. And we also offer an answer program, which has to do with suicide prevention, which helps with getting teens to talk about suicide and reach out for help. So we thought we would give you an example of a curriculum that we've developed under the Strong Communities for Trying Times program. This presentation is on disorders, not bad behaviors. It's been adapted for schools as well as parents and caregivers. And it is basically a training on common mental health disorders in children, including prevalence, onset, symptoms, and red flags in behavior that would warrant referral for assessment and or treatment. We have provided these sessions in person as well as virtually to the community. Part of the training includes how to support children with ADHD or ADD. We know that ADHD or ADD kids seem to be a disorder that school staff are probably very familiar with. The symptoms are easy to see, hard to manage in the classroom, and frequently cause the teachers and parents to reach out to mental health professionals to help the student. Supporting or managing children with ADHD and ADD takes some work, but there are several practices which are very effective. First practice is rules and consequences. These are clear and brief that focus on 2 or 3 things that really matter. This is obvious, but it's helpful to state rules in terms of behaviors we want rather than those we don't. For example, we wait to be called on rather than we don't interrupt. The consequences, whether positive or negative, must be swift. They must occur immediately after the behavior. It is best if they can be natural, something that happens automatically so you don't have to do anything and it happens nearly all the time. For example, being late for class or church results in you not getting your favorite seat. Being late for a meal results in cold food or smaller portions. A side note, be careful that the consequences don't make your job and life harder. How we encourage teachers and parents to use these consequences, but not extend their efforts. Also related to supporting children with ADHD or ADD is reinforcements and rewards. There are 2 types of reinforcements, selective and differential, that are effective with kids with ADD and ADHD. Praise is also a reward and reinforcement. So let's discuss praising. Praising correctly works well with any child or adult for that matter, and is very effective with kids with ADHD or ADD. First off, praise can be verbal, a positive statement. It can be in the form of attention spending a few minutes talking with or doing an activity that a child likes. And it can be affection, a high five, fist bump, or a pat on the back. But keep in mind that not all kids respond well to praise. They might have anxiety and not appreciate the public attention. Like any other reinforcement, praise needs to be immediate to be effective. Telling a kid you like how he did on a test last week is not as good. To be effective, praise must be honest and not overly flattering. Kids can see through the BS if we say that they're one of the best and the smartest pupils ever. Praise should also be specific. Rather than saying, you're a good friend, it should also include, like, I like how you are helping your friend, or I'm proud of the B you got on your spelling test. When we're working with ADHD and ADD kids, another strategy that we can use is selective reinforcement. And this is when we ignore the mild unwanted behaviors and attend to and reinforce positive behaviors. This is an art effective to ignoring. First, use the visual cues. Look away as soon as child engages in undesirable behavior and do not look at the child until the behavior stops. Then postural cues. Turn the front of your body away from the location of the child's undesirable behavior and do not appear frustrated. Vocal cues include maintaining a calm voice and not talking faster or shouting over the child. And then continuing the activity. What we try to do is demonstrate this in the classroom with the teachers and with the parents so they can have a visual understanding of working with children with ADHD. And we also want to make sure that we don't want to ignore certain behaviors that could potentially harm the child or someone else. Another strategy in working with ADD or ADHD children is differential reinforcement. And that involves step 1, which is selective reinforcement. And step 2 is actually reinforcing the child's desirable behavior in a systematic manner. And in order for this to be effective, the desirable behavior needs to be incompatible with the undesirable outcome. For example, a child can't both stay in their seat and jump up and down at the same time. So this need to figure out a reward schedule based on how long the child is able to do the desired behavior. If the child is unable to achieve the reward, then we adjust the time to make it shorter and therefore achievable. So finally, to implement this, let's say that the undesirable behavior is interrupting and the desirable behavior is working by himself. We can set a reward schedule for 5 minutes and set their watch or timer or check the clock. If the child goes 5 minutes without interrupting, the child receives reinforcement. If the child interrupts before 5 minutes is up, the child does not receive reinforcement and the timer is reset for 5 minutes. This is an ongoing process. We want to encourage to use reinforcements that the child desires or needs. For some kids, this will be social time with peers. For others, it will be quiet time. Some kids may need to get up and move around or play. Others may need a snack or like a sticker. Attention needs to be paid to the child, and they need to be asked what they like when they are developing rewards. When we encounter children with disruptive behavior disorders, it can be effective to use praise like we discussed. Also, effective verbal commands. We can demonstrate this in 5 steps, making effective verbal commands and offering praise by first making eye contact with the child before giving the command. Second, reducing other distractions while giving other commands. Third, asking the child to repeat the command. Fourth, watching the child for 1 minute after giving the command to ensure compliance. And 5, immediately praising the child when they start to comply. Another strategy that we use to manage kids with disruptive disorders is setting up a reward system. For example, first we identify a few target behaviors, ones that the child will be successful with most of the time. Then we set up a daily report card targeting these 1 to 3 behaviors. And then we set up a system for school report card or school home notes. Once this is done, you can track the child's behavior and report it to the parent daily. Rewards can be given at home or at school, and a guidance counselor, tutor, peer, therapist, or case manager can coach the student on skills or other target behaviors as appropriate. For all children, especially ones that are dealing with negative thinking, we encourage ways to change their thought patterns or common cognitive distortions, such as exaggerating, making all or nothing self-critical or statements that include terms like never, nothing, everything, or always. A child that says never do anything right can be gently reminded of how well they did on a test earlier that day, or how you saw them interact with a fellow student. We also want to encourage them to follow the rules about praising when we offer these gentle corrections to distorted thinking. There's filtering, which is ignoring positive things that occur to and around self, but focusing in on inflating the negative. Again, reminding the child gently of specific positive things that have happened to be helpful. There's labeling, which is calling self or others a bad name when displeased with the behavior. We all know that we do stupid things. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're stupid people. Discounting, which is rejecting positive experiences as not important or meaningful. Catastrophizing, which is blowing things way out of proportion in a negative direction. Self-blaming is holding self responsible for an outcome that was not completely under one's control. This is particularly essential at the developmental stage as children are learning boundaries and responsibility. Since several of the cognitive distortions involve negative thoughts, helping students increase positive self-talk is essential. We do this with the following steps. We first ask the students to identify the type of event that will trigger the irrational thought. For example, does this happen more than when they are tired or hungry, or with certain peers, tasks, or situations? Helping the student to recognize these situations can help them to handle them before they occur. Next, we help students become aware of their thoughts. This may include having the child sit quietly and listen to their thoughts, writing them down or drawing them to facilitate them. Third, we help the student recognize and get rid of negative self-talk. This involves helping the child to recognize which thoughts are negative and may be distorted or otherwise untrue. Finally, we encourage the child to counter negative thoughts with realistic positive self-talk. Help the young person to identify positive things about themselves. These can be traits or behaviors they have noticed. It is even better if they can help them identify things about themselves they like. Students can make a short list or develop a phrase that they can say quietly with negative talk and thoughts pop up. The positive statements must be realistic, true, and important to the child before they will believe them. We also encourage students to practice relaxation, especially if they're upset or anxious. We know that relaxation is a technique that induces physiological calming, the calming of the body in terms of calming the mind and emotion. Relaxation techniques include progressive muscle relaxation, guided imagery, and deep breathing. In the classroom, we demonstrate what these are and how they can be implemented. This can be as easy as 5 minutes in a chair at any time, and often with no one noticing the child is doing that. In our Positive Mind classroom sessions, and also in our K-5 sessions with the students, we encourage these types of activities and practice these types of strategies. There are a number of evidence-based programs that support social and emotional learning in the classroom. These include the PAC School Good Behavioral Game, the Positive Action Program, and Raising Healthy Children program. We also provide screening tools that are free, confidential, science-based, and tested, and are readily available via the web. These will not substitute for an evaluation or give a diagnosis, but they can be given to parents to see if they are concerned about a student. A student can take a screening themselves, or the parent can take the parent screening, answering the questions based on observations of the child. This can be a good resource for the teachers who think that the student may have a mental health issue. We also invite the Community Mental Health Center, which is the mental health service in each county. We invite a representative to speak for 5 or 10 minutes, and they're available to answer any questions and talk about their programs and services and crisis line numbers, so that teachers and parents can become familiar with these resources in the community, and they can get the help that their child needs, and they can get referrals as well. Thank you so much for your time and for learning more about our program on strong communities for trying times. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Stacy. Those of you who are muted, you can certainly ask a question or put it in the chat. So I appreciate Brittany and Stacy presenting today. Would it be okay for you to go back to the menu of the courses that you offer? It looked to be about 15. So this is the menu, and I'd be curious if Brittany and Stacy, just because your organizations take a different geographical area of Kansas. So Brittany, just out of curiosity, what are like the top courses in that are being chosen in your area, and why do you think that is? And then I would ask the same question of Stacy.
So when it comes to, I'll just say like the adult trainings that we have, so school personnel and parents and caregivers, personally, I've done more QPR. And I truly believe that that has to do with the stress and trauma that's been caused to the young people due to COVID and the isolation that a lot of them have experienced. For students, I would say, since it's mostly left up to the school and based on the school's need, we've realistically served second, third, and sixth and eighth the most. But I do think that the need is there for all of these. They're mainly preventative. So really, even if they're not tertiary, or it's just mainly primary prevention. So the need for all of the in-school trainings is there, regardless of the trying times that we're experiencing. So, I mean, I see the benefit. I have been a facilitator for prevention in our PATHS program as well. So even in the classes where there are less behavior issues and there are already pro-social interactions, these children still come out benefiting from taking these preventative courses. So.
Stacy, your area?
I think we're seeing, initially we saw a lot of trainings for the QPR, but now we're seeing many more trainings for more than SAD. And also we're seeing a lot more sessions for the K-5 students, as well as the 6th through 12th students, the high school students. I'm getting into a situation now where I'm contacting the schools directly, and they're requesting their students to have these positive mind sessions, as well as the bouncing back, the strong minds and the growing minds presentations. We've had some interest with the parents and caregivers in the family readiness and the PACS tools, but I continue to see more interest in the students right now. I think feedback from what I'm hearing from the schools is that the students are really needing the mental health piece more than anything else.
And so are these presented during class time, or is it right after school? How do schools choose to, present this curriculum to the students?
My experience for most of these K through, even high school, they will section off either a block of the day and just have that whole entire grade funnel through, and we'll just repeat the training, or we'll have several facilitators come in and hit several different grade levels during class period times. So it kind of varies based on the school's need and in my experience.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody else on the call have a question? We have about 1 more minute. And if not, then I'm going to ask one final question, and that is this curriculum, is it offered in places other than Kansas? I know your organizations reach different areas. So if somebody was in Michigan or in Tennessee, and they were interested in this this offering of training, is it something that can be then used in other states?
Right now, we're doing this training under the SAMHSA grant. So it's only for the state of Kansas and those counties that we serve.
Okay.
These are the only areas that we're able to do the training.
Okay. And so Stacy, if you don't mind ending with your contact information, which was the final slide. I want to thank you both for presenting. I will share a recording of this session with everyone. And that's Brittany's email as well. So they are gracious and kind enough to speak with any of you. If you have questions as you pursue something similar in your own state, they're happy to talk about their experience. And again, this was the third session of our Youth Mental Health Speaker Series. I have confirmed that our Screening for Success session has been rescheduled for Tuesday, November 2nd. I can't believe I'm saying November already. November 2nd at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for 30 minutes. And I will send out a meeting invitation to all of you and hope that you would join us. And thank you all so much. I appreciate it, and keep doing all the good work that you're doing. Have a good day.